sure am glad to see you, because I need some help. You see, my family and I live in a community right here in Florida, where there's sunshine all the time. Well, unless there's a hurricane, of course. Or one of those 1-hour afternoon rainstorms. Anyway, my neighbors are real friendly and we like to help each other out.
Hi, Bob. Need some help?
Why, yes, I do.
One day, we decided we wanted a community park. It would have a playground and a baseball field and a soccer field and walking trails and one of those big water fountains that you can run in and out of and get wet. We wanted everything you could think of.
Who's gonna mow the grass?
What about lights for night games?
What about maintenance?
Where's the water coming from for the fountain?
So, you see, we could really use some help in figuring out how to do this.
Hey, why don't you form a municipality?
A what?
You know, a city, a town, a village. They all mean the same thing in Florida. A municipality. It's a community. Doesn't matter what size, really, that's run by the people who live there. Kind of like a business. In fact, municipalities are actually corporations with very specific powers.
Really? So, how would it work?
Well, let's say a group of neighbors, like yours for example, all decide they want more services than they have now. You know, like a shared water system instead of each person having their own well, and a central sewer system instead of each person having a septic tank, and a fire truck, with firemen of course, in case someone's house catches on fire, and police officers to protect everyone.
Whoa, who's gonna pay for all of that? And who's in charge?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Who's in charge here?
When you form a municipality, you elect a handful of people to be city officials, sometimes as little as 3, but usually 5 or 7. It's best to have an odd number in case they vote on something and need a tiebreaker. The city officials are called commissioners or council members, and the leader of the group is usually called the mayor, but not always. The residents of a city then decide which services they want and write it all down in their charter.
A charter?
Yep, a city's charter is kind of like its constitution, a social contract of sorts that is adopted by the people it governs. Every city in Florida has one, and it can only be changed by the residents, not the elected officials.
Thank you for the charter.
But wait, I'd like to change something.
Sorry, can't do that. Only the people can do that. See ya.
Okay, but you still didn't tell me how it all gets paid for.
Ah, yes, that's where property taxes and user fees come in.
Property taxes? User fees?
That's what homeowners and businesses pay based on the value of the actual property they own. It's based on a thing called the millage rate.
Millage rate?
Yeah, I know. It's a funny word. It's actually Latin, and it means thousand.
Not a million?
No, I know that mill sounds more like million, but it means thousand. Anyway, when it comes to property taxes, 1 mil is 0.001, or 1/1000. So, if a property is valued at $100,000 and you multiply it by 0.001, the amount of the property tax would be...
10?
Nope.
1,000?
Try again. Come on, use those math skills. You can do it.
100?
Right.
Yes! I knew that.
Sure you did. Before a millage rate can be set, the people running the city need to know a few things first, like how many residents live inside the municipal boundary. You probably call it the city limit. How many people receive services? How much do the services actually cost? What about city employees? You then take all of these numbers divided by the total value of all the properties
You're doing math.
I know, but we need to know these things so everyone pays their fair share for all the city provides.
I guess I should have paid more attention in math class. Okay, that's what property taxes and user fees are for. Got it.
Right. And they pay for all sorts of services that enhance our quality of life.
Like Parks and Rec?
Right. And solid waste and garbage disposal.
And water. And sewage.
There you go. How about libraries? That's where I learned all the stuff.
And cemeteries. And urban planning and economic development.
You got it. And others to keep the public safe like...
The police department.
Yes, and the fire department.
Building inspection.
And the people you call when a wild alligator climbs a fence into your yard.
Whoa, what?
You know, animal control.
Oh, right.
And transportation, airports, buses, road maintenance, bicycle paths, sidewalks.
Wow, I guess cities really do provide a lot of services. But again, who's in charge of it all?
It depends. Some cities choose the mayor-council form of government, and some choose the council-manager form.
Wow, I thought this was going to be easy.
It's not that hard. In a mayor-council form of government, you can either have a strong mayor or a weak mayor.
Strong? You mean like weightlifter strong? What does that have to do with government?
I'm not talking about personalities or physique. I'm referring to political power. A strong mayor has lots of responsibilities and can make some important decisions on his own. A weak mayor has the same power and responsibilities as the other council members. In this case, the mayor just runs the meetings. In a council manager form, however, the elected officials are more like a board of directors, and they hire a CEO to run things at the city. That's called the city manager. There are other forms too, but these are the main ones.
Well, which one is the best?
That's a great question, but it's hard to answer.
I thought you said this was going to be easy.
Listen, it all comes back to what do the people want? Do they want one person in charge or several? Do they want those in charge to be elected or just take direction from electeds? All these questions are answered by the people of a given community based on their needs.
How do you know what kind of city you live in?
Remember the charter? It holds lots of answers.
Okay, Miss Smarty Pants. You didn't talk about the military. Who's in charge of that?
Well, that's the federal government. In the United States, we have several layers of government that do different things. We have the federal government. That's the big one in Washington, D.C. And it has 3 branches of government. The executive branch, that's the president. The legislative branch, Congress. And the judicial branch, Supreme Court. Those 3 branches affect laws governing the whole country. Then there are 50 states, and each one has at least 3 branches of government, just like the federal government. In Florida, the executive branch is the governor's office. The legislative branch is the state legislature in Tallahassee, and the judicial branch is the state Supreme Court. Then there are counties. In Florida, counties are basically tiny states with yet another layer of government. There are 67 of those. Did you know no matter where you go in the state, you're always in a county? Then there are school districts and water management districts and fire districts and hundreds more special districts.
So, municipal government is where people that live in a community make decisions for just the people in that community.
Right. It's called home rule. The people of Florida granted cities and counties the right to make their own decisions about their own services in their own communities right at home, without having to go to Tallahassee or Washington, D.C. to get approval, with some exceptions.
I see. Okay, so what happens if some people who live in a community don't agree? Like, let's say that some people want a pool in the park and other people want a baseball field with lights. But there's only enough money in the budget to do one thing or the other. Do they go to the state legislature?
Nope. Those decisions are made right at home by the municipal or county government. To solve that problem, one option would be to increase the millage rate. Remember millage rate? Which would raise taxes to pay for both. But if nobody wants to pay more taxes, what would probably happen is the city officials will hold a public meeting where everyone is invited. That's the best part about local government. You get to have a voice in what happens. You can text, email, call, or even better, show up and speak. Once all the positions are heard, the city officials will take a vote and then tell city staff what to do based on the outcome.
But what if you don't like the decision that was made?
Well, you might not always get what you want, but if you don't like it, you can always move to another town, or protest, or run for office.
You know, it seems to me that local government affects our communities much more than any other layer of government.
Absolutely. It's the government closest and most responsive to the people. We need local government. Elected officials and the staff they employ are the best equipped to respond to and make decisions about the local communities they serve. They know that what works in Miami or Tampa may not work in Live Oak or Chattahoochee, and that's okay. Florida has over 400 cities, and they are all different, with different people, with different needs, with different cool things about them.
I like that about our state. It's filled with diversity.
I like it too.
So remember that park that my neighbors and I wanted to build?
I want a volleyball court.
What about a rock wall? I want a climbing rock
How
wall.
about a disc golf course?
What? A disc golf course?
Why not?
I don't think so.
Now that's a terrible idea.
Yeah, who gonna pay for that?
What about another bathroom? We could use another bathroom.
Everyone, stop fighting. Let's take this to City Hall.
And that is city government in a nutshell.